Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host Omar Khalid. But today is the 30th of October 2024. The month is coming to an end, but we've got lots and lots to discuss with you. So without further ado, this is what we will be discussing primarily during the course of the show, and we will be highlighting and discussing our Prime Minister Shehbazsharif's visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, his address to the 8th plenary of the Future Investment Initiative Forum, as well as the gamut of relations that exist between Pakistan and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Both the countries have extremely warm, cordial and strong brotherly and friendly relations. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has always been on Pakistan's side, has backed Pakistan in the good and the bad times, has always held Pakistan's hand whenever Pakistan has been going through tough times, and continues to do so, and continues to also highlight the same issues that Pakistan has been highlighting on national and regional and international issues. We'll be highlighting different aspects of that in our primary segment that we will be covering today. So without further ado, let's begin with that on Pakistan and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia relations, the visit of our Prime Minister Shehbazsharif to the Kingdom, as well as his address to the 8th plenary of the Future Investment Initiative. We've been joined by Javed Siddiq Saab, a senior analyst who is right here in the studios, and we'll be joined by other guests online as well during the course of this show. So let's begin without further ado. Thank you very much, Javed Saab, to have joined us. Javed Saab, you know, when you talk about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, or the relations between the two countries, there's so much to talk that I think 1 hour will not suffice to even highlight some of the major aspects of it. Nevertheless, our Prime Minister is in the Kingdom on a 2-day official visit to attend the 8th edition of the Future Investment Initiative conference or forum, and of course it also the main highlight of this forum is how investments can act as a catalyst for a prosperous and sustainable future. Of course, this is under the patronage this year of King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, and carries the theme Infinite Horizons, Investing Today, Shaping Tomorrow. How important, in your point of view, sir, is the resolve to shape a better future for all, especially under the current geopolitical or geoeconomic circumstances? Also, how, in your point of view, can investments act as a catalyst for a prosperous and a sustainable future?
I think you have rightly pointed out in your intro that Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have always had very cordial, very brotherly relations. And Saudi Arabia is one country which has stood by Pakistan in through thick and thin. And Saudi Arabia has been helping out Pakistan on various fronts. It has stood by Pakistan on the issue of Kashmir. It has stood by Pakistan on all major issues that both countries confront. So I think there has never been any difference of opinion or difference of policy perception on regional and international issues. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have always been on one page. So this visit of Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shehbazsharif, is going to play a role of a catalyst to boost the relations between the two countries. And this occasion is very important and very pertinent, because this is an occasion where Saudi Arabia, Pakistan and other countries are looking at future investments and prospects of future investment. And Pakistan is one country which is in dire need of investment, foreign investment. And Saudi Arabia has been very generous to invest in a brotherly country like Pakistan. Saudi Arabia has promised, even in this visit, Prime Minister's visit, $2 billion investment in Pakistan. And before that, a high-level Saudi delegation visited Pakistan and promised investments in so many fields.
Around 25 MOUs were also signed on that occasion.
Yes, MOUs were signed. Saudi Arabia has also promised to invest in Ricodec project, which is a very key project in Pakistan. It is game changer as far as Balochistan and Pakistan are concerned.
True.
And I think Saudi Arabia is going to do more. We are expecting a delegation from Saudi Arabia in December in Pakistan, which is going to negotiate on further investments in Pakistan, Saudi investments in Pakistan. And I think an oil facility on basis of deferred payment is also expected during the visit of this Saudi delegation. So I think overall, this meeting of Prime Minister with Mohammed bin Sulaiman has been a very positive, and the news emanating from Saudi Arabia with regard to this meeting are very positive, very encouraging. And I think Saudi Arabia has assured Pakistan that Saudi Arabia, as it always did in the past, will stand by Pakistan in future as well. And they are very generous in investing in Pakistan, in tourism, in mining, in agriculture, and other fields.
All right. We've also been joined by Dr. Usman Chohan, who's a leading political economist. Thank you very much, Usman, to have joined us. Now, Usman, the theme this year for the Future Investment Initiative, where our Prime Minister is representing Pakistan, is Infinite Horizons, Investing Today, Shaping Tomorrow. The first part of the question is, how important is this theme under the current circumstances that we are seeing in the region and the world? The second part of my question concerns a one-on-one meeting that our Prime Minister had with the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman on the sidelines of this 8th edition, and wherein a lot of economic situation and collaboration were discussed between both the countries, that includes trade, investment and broader economy. And our Prime Minister also expressed gratitude to the Crown Prince for Saudi Arabia's support regarding international financial institutions. Now, the first part of the question was regarding the theme. The second part of the question is, how critical has the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's support to Pakistan been as far as Pakistan's economic turnaround is concerned?
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be with you. The first part of your question relates to the theme of the FII, which is a transition or investment for the future, basically. So, as you well know, we are going through an important critical juncture in the 21st century, and you have to think towards the middle of the 21st century, which means that you have to start investing in key areas now, and the countries that make the investments now will reap the benefits by mid-century. Key in that is things like artificial intelligence, which you hear about all the time, but it's also more things like renewable energy, electric vehicles, infrastructure, and things of that sort, as well as education and healthcare, mining, energy. All of these things matter. So what you'll see at the FII is that all of these different discussions will be taking place about what priorities each country has, or major corporations have, where they see the future, where are there disagreements that can be hammered out, deals can be made, and where can we see the world going in terms of this transition. So the Future Investment Initiative means we invest now in a radical way to have positive results by mid-century. That's basically what the FII thinks. The second part of your question was about this meeting between our Prime Minister and the Crown Prince and the importance of that. Well, of course, you should see it in terms of this multi-staging engagement that we have with the Saudis. So we went there, they came here, and we are going there. And in each step, you see more memorandums of understanding added, some of which are already operational. More investment deals are put on the table. Good legwork is done from our side. Good legwork is done on their side in terms of due diligence. And with that, you see that actually quite a few areas exist where Pakistan can offer a good return on investment to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia can diversify its economy. Because you have to keep in mind that Saudi Arabia needs Pakistan as much as Pakistan needs Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia has a vision 2030, and then a vision beyond that will be linked to 2030. And for that, they're imagining a world beyond hydrocarbons and their dependency on oil. So you can't just think about them as an oil-producing country. They see themselves, particularly the Crown Prince sees Saudi Arabia as a very multidimensional economy. He's basically aiming to achieve what America did with hundreds of millions of people in 300 years. He wants to do it in 2 generations with tens of millions of people. So it's very ambitious. That's where countries like Pakistan, and Pakistan in particular, can help Saudi Arabia to attain that vision by having those synergies for that vision to be realized.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Stay with us, Usman. We've also been joined by Faheem Al-Hamid. He's a Saudi analyst. Thank you very much, Mr. Al-Hamid, to have joined us. I'd like to understand the present situation, condition of the relationship between Pakistan and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as far as the economic collaboration or cooperation is concerned. I'd like to understand how both the countries are taking it forward, and also how does the Saudi Vision 2030 closely align with Pakistan's key policy objectives?
Well, assalamu alaikum, and good afternoon or good evening to your guests.
Yes, Mr. Faheem Al-Hamid, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Salaam alaikum to everybody. In fact, you know, the Jew investment corporation, strategic cooperation between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan got a very strong boost last month when a high-powered investment delegation visited Pakistan from private sector, and they had signed a $2 billion project with the Pakistani private sector. That investment package, I can say with authority, is one of the biggest investment between B2B Saudi Arabia and Pakistan since 2 to 3 decades, because such high profile delegation from different investment industry has shown interest, not only attended the seminar, but they have signed the MOU. So putting into consideration that a very high-profile, successful visit, we are seeing now the Honorable Prime Minister is in Saudi Arabia and attending the most prestigious forum, which is the FII, and, you know, attending that, networking with the counterpart, meeting with the Crown Prince. That's, a very solid example that not only there is a desire, political desire, but I will answer your question that 2030 has gave Pakistan a new blood in its investment artery.
All right. Thank you very much, Faheem Al-Hamid Saab, Saudi analyst, who have joined us. Coming to you, Javed Saab. Javed Saab, Dr. Usman Chohan also alluded to the Saudi Vision 2030, and you also talked in partly to, with it. When we talk of the Saudi-Pak collaboration in the economic arena, and you also highlighted some of the recent visits that have happened and some of the key agreements that have been signed between both the countries as well, and what the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is interested in investing as far as Pakistan is concerned. How does this Vision 2030 of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia becomes pertinent or important vis-a-vis Pakistan's own objectives as far as economic turnaround or economic strengthening is concerned?
I think Vision 2030 is basically looking at transitioning Saudi economy purely from oil-based economy to non-oil sectors. Like, you know, they are developing tourism to attract foreign investment and tourism. That's one aspect of this. And also Saudi Arabia is trying to build an industrial infrastructure so that the reliance on fossil fuels is minimized, because we can see the bigger picture that is emerging globally is that world is moving away from the fossil fuels, the oil and the carbon producing fuels. So I think that's very important. So Vision 2030 is basically to modernize the Saudi economy, to basically take it away from one source of income, which is the oil, and they have this vision that they need to compete with the world. They have to be in step with the world so that they can march quickly and catch up with the rest of the world. So I think that's very important. And from that perspective, Pakistan is very important, because Pakistan has the potential, Pakistan has the expertise also to help Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia has the resources, the wherewithal to help Pakistan build its own economy. Already Pakistanis, huge number of Pakistanis are working in Saudi Arabia. They are massively contributing towards the economic development of Saudi Arabia. So they have gained a lot of experience how Saudi system works. So they can be of great importance and asset to Saudi Arabia and Pakistan's relations. They can strengthen the relations. But I think Saudis are basically interested in a country like Pakistan with 220 million plus population. They want to benefit from investing in Pakistan in tourism, in agriculture, in mining and other sectors which can change the game in the region as well as at a global level. So I think Saudi investment is very vital for Pakistan, but at the same time Pakistan is so vital for Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabian leadership is well aware of the fact. And in the initial days, I'm talking of 70s and 80s, when Saudi Arabia was passing through the developmental phase 1, Pakistan played a very, very vital role in the infrastructure development of Saudi Arabia. Now they are entering into second and third phase, but Pakistan played a very important role. And Saudi leadership realizes this. They also realize that Pakistan and Saudi Arabia are so close to each other. They share so many common interests. They share the common goals, and their perception on regional and global issues is so close. And that is a relationship that is strengthening by the day. And I think
and will continue to strengthen with the days to come.
And Prime Minister's visit is going to boost these relations
Inshallah,
further.
Inshallah. Usman, in the meeting with the Crown Prince, our Prime Minister also alluded to the visit of the Saudi Minister for Investment and his huge delegation that had come to Pakistan some time back. And of course, the Minister for Investment, Khalid bin Abdul Aziz, who visited Pakistan earlier this year on a 3-day official visit, led to the signing of many important MOUs, Memoranda of Understanding. How important do you feel that visit was, and how do you feel that the MOUs that were signed during that time could further lead impetus to the economic turnaround of Pakistan and the relations between both countries?
Oh, well, I think they have an enormous impact. The number of MOUs has actually increased since that visit when the Minister of Investment had arrived. At that time, we had already done a lot of homework on our side to present proposals. And then what was responded to particularly favorably received particularly detailed follow-ups. And in the same time, they had also come well prepared. That delegation came well prepared with serious, rolled up their sleeves. It's time to do business. And they looked at various different areas. And it became evident that there were a lot of areas for opportunity, and Saudi Arabia was the delegation came to realize that Pakistan is actually a very competitive place for investment, where Saudi Arabia can have high returns, high inroads, because at that time Pakistan was, and even now, it's not the only country that is eager to develop fast with a lot of potential and a young population. For example, Egypt is also in a similar position to us with a lot of offers, a lot of investment offers, but Pakistan still stands out, and that's very good. And now with this visit to Saudi Arabia, you can see that there's a further follow-up on what needs to be done. More MOUs are being added according to the Saudi side. So already we can see several different areas, and 5 of those are already operational MOUs. So, the thing with MOUs, as you well know, is that that's an expression of interest, but then you have to follow up with do implementation on that. And already you can see with these MOUs that implementation is being done. So that's very reassuring that things are not just left to the MOU stage.
All right, Usman. Javed Saab, in the meeting between both the leaders also, what was also discussed was the situation that has emerged in the world, specifically with respect to the Middle East and what is happening in Palestine. The Prime Minister also made a very important call to the world community while he addressed the 8th plenary session of the Future Investment Initiative, where he also highlighted the Middle East and the grave situation that Palestine is embroiled in as we speak. How important is a consensus between important nations such as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Pakistan on the situation in the Middle East?
I think both Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have identical views as far as the issue of Palestine is concerned. Both have been condemning the barbaric treatment that is being meted out to the Palestinians the people, the population of Gaza and other areas it being butchered, is being bombarded, and men, women, children and old people are targeted. Even mosques have been targeted.
Of course.
The other areas, the hospitals have been targeted. And the people where they were basically getting their food and all that, shelters, those shelters were not spared. So I think Pakistan has come out very boldly in favor of Palestinian. Pakistan has fully condemned this kind of barbarity that's being meted out to the Palestinian. So has Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia has made it very clear that unless Palestinians get a state of their own, there cannot be any relationship or any diplomatic relations with Israel. There were previous efforts that Saudi Arabia and Israel should come together and they should have some kind of diplomatic ties. But that is the story of the past. What Israel has done to the innocent Palestinians, killing almost 50,000 Palestinians, more than 100,000 Palestinians have been injured. And now they have basically stopped the United Nations relief operation in Gaza.
Yes.
That is the most brutal step. It is widely
and
condemned.
banned UNRWA.
In UNRWA, yes. And that has been universally condemned. So Pakistan has also expressed its concern over it. So has Saudi Arabia. And Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have discussed this issue at length in the meeting between our Prime Minister and Saudi leadership. And they have identical views on this, and they will keep supporting the Palestinian cause, the two-state solution, which is being touted by the world, and also the Western countries are supporting it. And I think that is the way out, and Pakistan stands by it.
All right. Usman, the Prime Minister, as we all know, addressed the 8th plenary of the Future Investment Initiative Forum as well, which is a very important forum, as well as the, innovation, economic activities and the future shaping of the world is concerned. Now, our Prime Minister invites global investors to invest in Pakistan in different sectors of our economy. He says, and I quote, that Pakistan is on a transformative journey of resilience and relentless pursuit of stability as well as growth. How can Pakistan develop further on this journey? By collaborating with the nations, heralding an era of innovation.
Absolutely. When you look at the theme of this conference and the transition element, and then you look at the membership or the participation in the FII, you see that the right people are getting together for this conversation. So it's very good that Pakistan has this present and at such a high level presence too, to articulate the case for investment in Pakistan. Because what we want to argue is that we've gone through a difficult period as a world community, and Pakistan as an emerging market went through a hard time over the last 5 years with COVID and then post-COVID. That's over now, and that we are setting in place the right long-term investments that complement what we had already done, for example, on CPEC, which was begun a decade ago, and now it's in phase 2. We're looking for these investment partners, and we want to assure them that they will get the good returns. And we're also it's not simplistic transactions, but it's also in line with the future of investment. Because where is the future of the world? It's very much in Asia, naturally, but specifically South Asia, and Pakistan is obviously key in that. South Asia is the future demographically and so on. So you have to keep an eye on South Asia, he is arguing, and all of the technologies that are getting considerable discussion in this, such as artificial intelligence and all of that, those matter here more than in other places. And so Pakistan, not just at this forum, but also directly to the Saudis, has mentioned things like AI, but also medical stuff, as our population will also come to age. It's one of the last that will age, but it will age. And as medical is one, then mining, and then energy and stuff, to fill in the gaps that have been left behind over the last, you can say, 50 years. So that's where the FII becomes very important, because the people who are interested in these things with that mindset of transition, investing for transition into the mid-21st century, are there. So that's why it matters that these things are talked about, and our Prime Minister's raising those things there.
All right, Javed Saab, our Prime Minister during his speech also referred to health and education as two sectors where he said the investors could come and invest and collaborate with Pakistan as well. He talked about institutions like the King Edward Medical College, the Aga Khan University and NUST as well as institutes that have made breakthroughs as far as innovation is concerned, diagnosis, treatment and disease prevention is concerned. How, in your point of view, sir, have Pakistan institutions contributed to such breakthroughs in treatment, in diagnosis and in disease prevention?
I think Pakistan's contribution in these fields, particularly health sector, has been admired and lauded by various countries, including Saudi Arabia. In Saudi hospitals, a huge number of Pakistani doctors are working, and not from now, but they started going to Saudi Arabia for treatment, and they aligned themselves with the Saudi health system decades ago. So I think Saudi Arabia recognizes it. Also, from Saudi perspective, the population, the size of population Pakistan has, it offers a huge potential for Saudis to invest in the health sector. And that's a great incentive for them.
Of course.
That is why Prime Minister has raised this issue, because Saudis, they understand, they clearly, they are very, perceptionally, they are very clear as to what benefits they can reap if they invest in the health sector in Pakistan. And education sector, as you have mentioned, is also very important. Pakistani educational institutions have earned a good reputation in the world at large. So I think Saudi Arabia is also interested in investing in the education sector with such a big young population aspiring to get education, technical as well as other kinds of education. So I think Saudi Arabia also very well understands the significance of investing in education sector with such a big young population which is going abroad for education. And if these facilities are offered here in Pakistan, Pakistan can produce a very, very able population, young population, which can contribute both regionally, globally, and can benefit both Saudi Arabia and Pakistan.
All right. Usman, you did talk about education, you did talk about health as well, and you talked about disease prevention that I've also asked Javed sir. But one thing that I'd like to highlight, is the emphasis that our Prime Minister has put on artificial intelligence during his meeting, during his address at the 8th plenary. Now, he talks about reforms, he talks about leveraging investment in artificial intelligence, but you did manage to talk about education. I also like to add a little point as far as education is concerned, where the PM talks about vocational training, digital literacy, and says Pakistan aims to being a skilled, tech-savvy generation, and mentions examples like the Danish School. Do you feel Pakistan can, be an example for other countries to follow as far as such trainings are concerned? And of course, will AI be able to help Pakistan go forward certain steps or leaps and bounds as far as the training process is concerned, the education process is concerned? Do you feel the AI could be used in a manner that could be lucrative for our education sector?
Oh, this is a tricky question, because AI is a double-edged sword. As an economist, you are looking at the gains to productivity from AI, and yes, that is obvious. There's many gains to be had from that, in education and literacy being one, because it creates accessibility and student engagement in a way that is mass replicable. So that's very good. But at the same time, there's an employment issue with AI, because AI's replaceability of jobs, not in the current iteration, of course, but 5 years, 10 years down the road, is very scary for employment. So when a country such as Pakistan, or any other emerging market as well, looks at AI, it needs for AI to be deployed not as a tool in an arms race, as major powers are doing now, but rather as something that is inclusive towards development. And in this FII summit, the key talk about in AI has been AI inclusivity. So the deployment of AI in a way that creates more secure working environments, job environments like job security, as well as productivity gains. That is the key. And luckily, there are 19 knowledge partners present at the FII who are the big players in this. So that speaks directly to your point about education and AI, because these are knowledge partners and these are the heavyweights, global heavyweights in this field. So I don't want to name names specifically, but they have such an important weight in driving where AI goes that they can have it made inclusive if they want to. At least the pressure is being put on them in a summit like this, and at least they will do the virtue signaling that they are interested. Whether this actually happens requires countries like Pakistan as well as Saudi Arabia to be proactive and to make sure that it is inclusive rather than an arms race. So it is a double-edged sword for now, but at least the right kind of conversation is happening about making this something useful and not a double-edged sword, but a true benefit for emerging markets like ours.
All right, thank you so very much, Usman, to have joined us. That was, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Usman Chohan, leading political economist, talking to us about the relationship between Pakistan and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the context of our Prime Minister Shehbazsharif's visit to the Kingdom, as well as, of course, his address to the 8th plenary of the Future Investment Initiative. Thank you very much, Usman. Javed Saab, coming again to Pakistan and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We talked about one of the biggest delegations of Saudi Arabia coming at early October. There's another one you said is coming in December, yes, as well, to reaffirm the already existing strong ties between both the countries. Do you feel the SIFC could play a very important role in this regard? Because you did mention minerals, you did mention some of the other aspects of the bilateral collaboration in the different realms of economy where it is concerned. Do you feel the SIFC's role becomes even more robust as far as strengthening the trade relations between the two countries in sectors such as agriculture, energy, mining is concerned?
I think SIFC is playing a very vital role in basically identifying the areas where the foreign investment and particularly Saudi investment can come and be of great benefit to Pakistan. This mining sector, agriculture and energy and you know, hydrocarbon sector, the upgradation of refineries, oil refineries. These are the ideas which have been generated by SIFC, and I think the Saudi leadership is well aware of the composition of SIFC, and they understand that this is an umbrella organization which is going to ensure that any investment in these fields that I've mentioned is going to be of great benefit to Saudi Arabia as well. And Pakistan, of course, is going to be the major beneficiary. But Saudi Arabia is very conscious about the fact that an investment that they are making in Pakistan, or for that matter any other country, is going to be of great benefit to them. Their investment brings them dividends, and I think Saudi Arabia is very confident after these meetings with SIFC leadership that their investment is very safe. Their investment is going to generate profits for them, dividends for them, is going to be of great benefit to Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan will strengthen the bilateral cooperation in the field of agriculture, in the field of oil, in the field of mining and other sectors. So Saudi Arabia is, it seems to be very, very prepared to invest in all these fields, and they have been briefed by SIFC leadership, and they are very confident that their investment in these fields in Pakistan is going to reap a lot of dividends and benefits.
All right, wonderful. That brings us to the end of the first segment, ladies and gentlemen. Let's come to our second segment, and that concerns the situation as far as the Middle East is concerned, whether it be Palestine or Lebanon. And we know the atrocities, the brutalities that the Israelis are committing as far as Gaza is concerned or Lebanon is concerned. We continue to discuss this issue with the Javed Siddiq Saab. Javed Saab, as far as Gaza is concerned or Palestine is concerned, Beit Lahia in northern Gaza has now been declared a disaster area by the municipality of that area because of the consistent bombardment of the Israelis in that area. 110 Palestinians have been killed on Tuesday alone, in an attack that the US itself has called horrifying. At least 43,163 Palestinians have been killed since this whole operation began on the 7th of October, and around 101,510 people have been injured. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, I feel, because as far as a report by the Lancet organization, more than 180,000 people have been killed so far, but that we'll only know once and whenever this war ends. We also see what is happening in the West Bank, the way the Israelis are not only bombarding the West Bank, but also making arrests, and of course the people taking a hold of settlements within the occupied West Bank as well. What, in your point of view, is the Israeli strategy when it comes to Gaza or when it comes to the occupied West Bank?
Well, I think the Israeli strategy is to completely eliminate Palestinians from their own lands, to displace them, and if they are unable to displace them, the most favorite weapon they are using is to kill them. And the United States and the other members of the Security Council have been urging Israel to come to a ceasefire. But Israel is rejecting all these calls, all these appeals, all these requests. UN Secretary General, who has been consistently demanding that there must be a ceasefire and the Israelis should allow the relief goods to reach to the people in Gaza and elsewhere. But Israel is constantly denying any relief operation, any relief goods to these people. So this brutality is continuing, and it has no precedent in the history of the world. This brutality has motivated people all around the world, even in US, UK and other European countries. The people, thousands and hundreds of thousands of people have come out on streets to express their sentiments against this brutality, this barbarism. But Israelis are not touched. Some experts believe, some observers believe that Israel is working on a greater Israel plan, and it wants to annex more Arab lands, Gaza plus the West Bank and other areas, to emerge as a bigger country in the region.
Whatever it is doing in Lebanon, for example, Javed, Siddiq, do you feel that it is also part of its greater Israel strategy that you have just alluded to? Because if you just look at what is happening in southern Lebanon as well, there are deadly strikes that are happening in the area. Women and children are amongst the 15 killed in this latest attack in Sarafan and Heret Saida near Sidon city. 33 Israeli soldiers have also been killed in the fighting. But when it comes to Lebanon, 2,787 people have been killed, 12,772 people have been wounded since the war on Gaza began, and 77 killed in strikes across the country on Tuesday alone. Again, we are not talking of Palestine, we are talking of Lebanon.
Yes.
Do you feel that Israel is trying to replicate whatever it is doing in Palestine, Gaza. In Gaza,
Yes.
in Lebanon?
It is doing the same. Indiscriminate firing, indiscriminate attacks, demolishing the buildings, residential areas where people live. They martyred Hassan Nasrallah. They also martyred his number 2, who was likely to be the head of the Hezbollah. And now another gentleman, Naim Qassem, has been nominated to be the head of Hezbollah. And I fear that even he could be the next target by Israel. So I think this brutality is not going to end in Lebanon, in Gaza and elsewhere in Palestinian area. And the United Nations, the Security Council, the world at large, they are urging Israel to stop it. Even some of the Christians and Jews, some section of Jews have also been appealing Netanyahu to stop this, but he is not going to do it. And what are his designs? I think the design is to eliminate Palestinians and to completely demolish their dwellings, their houses, and the places where they can take refuge. This is the strategy of Israel, and it needs to be condemned, not only condemned, but the world should get together to stop Israel, to put maximum pressure on Israel to stop this inhuman treatment of Palestinians and this barbarity that it has unleashed on Palestinians since October last year.
All right. When you look at all the situation, whether it be the Lebanon situation in Lebanon or in Palestine, and then you look at ceasefire proposals, the latest was by Egypt for a 2-day ceasefire proposal. Before that, there was a ceasefire proposal by Joe Biden, which was a 3-step proposal, but we never heard a culmination of that proposal, despite the fact that it was proposed by the US President himself, and he's still the US President as we speak. But Israel had the gall to even refuse that, refuse all the discussions that have been held at the United Nations Security Council and at the United Nations General Assembly vis-a-vis the situation in Israel. The ICC, the ICJ, and their also decisions taken have been completely negated by Israel as well. Under the whole this whole situation that has evolved in the last couple of months with the decisions and else taken, what is the future of any kind of ceasefire in the coming days?
Well, I think the future seems to be very bleak when you look at Israel's policy, because if they had the courage and they had the moral spirit in them, the world has been urging Israel, the UN Security Council, UN Chief, Secretary General of the United Nations, United Nations General Assembly, International Court of Justice, other institutions, human rights institutions, they have been urging Israel to stop it, to agree to a ceasefire. But Israel hasn't done it. It is consistently bombarding and targeting Palestinians, innocent Palestinians.
That is so true, Javed. I mean, this is so unfortunate, the whole situation that the Middle East is embroiled. Let's hope that better sense prevails, sanity prevails within those who can make the right decisions. Thank you very much, Javed, Siddiq Saab. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with new segments and stories that pertain to us, you in Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.